Okay, hi everyone once again. Thank you
Hi.
for joining to us. And uh, today we are going to discuss our uh, engineering stuff. And I try to prepare agenda for us. Sorry for this lack of point number 4. I I tried to prepare it before our meeting. anyway, we will start with a discussion with about our microservice architecture, and I'm sure that Miguel represent us, and feel free to ask some questions. Especially for me, I have one question to Miguel about this microservice architecture, and after that, Kevin will show us his progress on time zone detection, and I'm sure that this will be helpful for everyone because this is a very sensitive topic, how we will uh, uh, detect this time zone, because it's very important for our patients. After that, I will show you some examples of project structure. Right now, Nahid from Bangladesh and Kevin working on this. Kevin, I will show you, I will show only your structure, that everyone will keep in mind this related to your project. And as for Nahid, he he working deep dive to this structure, folders and files, and he is still in progress. But anyway, in the future we will have a new structure of our Python server, and we will see how this will work. And keep in mind this, that don't forget, get the last version from the GitHub. uh, and after that, we will discuss questions, any issues, or maybe somebody doesn't have a task, whatever which in your mind, blockers, issues, and I will try to, we all together try to give answers for this. If we don't have answers, probably I will put my notes and we will try find solution after this call. And right now I'm ready to uh, give this words to Miguel. And Miguel, could you show us your incredible ideas about microservice architecture and how this will help us and for everyone?
Thank you for the incredible from your incredible stuff.
Frankly
Okay.
speaking, I personally don't have a chance to touch this microservice architecture. I only read a lot, and my dream was, oh, in someday I will try to touch this. And you
Yeah,
are starting this division. Thank you.
it sounds great to me too. Yeah. Uh, okay, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Desktop. Uh, I think is okay. Yeah. Okay, this is a very early draft of the system. It's focused on microservices. Yeah.
Mhm.
The microservices part is this one. So the big picture is about to build a system built by microsystems. Yeah, that way we can build, for instance, the authentication system in PHP, okay,
Mhm.
and the report system in .NET, for instance.
Mhm.
Yeah, every service is standalone, and they all communicate by a queue manager. The queue manager is still. I have to find more info about the queue manager scenario. Okay, but
Mhm.
I think it's a must too. Yeah. The point is when all the systems publishes messages to the queue manager. For instance, if when a patient has a new heart rate measurement,
Mhm.
uh, that new measurement is a message included in the queue manager. It's a it pops, and the patient microservices is listening to that message,
Mm-hmm.
grabs
Mm-hmm.
the message and increases or updates the information he has. Um, as you can see, every microservice has a database,
Mm-hmm.
so we can use the database. If you are, for instance, building the authentication microservice in PHP with MySQL, okay, go ahead. Uh, uh, you can write the patient system in Node.js with Oracle. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they are work together, sending and receiving messages by the queue manager. Um, the other actor in that picture is the API gateway. This is a very important because uh, in nowadays the is the REST API the most used in the world to communicate services, to ask petitions to services,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a bit complicated. It's a bit, it has a lot of drawbacks, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that will be a great idea to move forward and use. That's my suggestion. That API GraphQL. GraphQL is a protocol created by Facebook people, and I think you agree. Facebook people know about the internet communications issues, and it solves a lot of problems that REST API has. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I have built and uploaded to GitHub a proof, a small piece of software who is functional. Yeah, it's written in Symfony, PHP, and MySQL, and uses the GraphQL to communicate its data to the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is the playground for GraphQL, and it communicates to my service. And if, for instance, if you want to list all patients in the old way, in the REST API way, you will have to send that, for instance, that kind of URL. Yeah? But in GraphQL, you only have to send a JSON data text, and the system answers magically. Okay. If you remove, for instance, imagine you don't need that attribute, just remove, requery, and it goes. It works. Yeah. If you want, you need to ask for only a patient, you can do that kind of query, and the data goes back to you, per perfectly formatted, human friendly, and very quick. Another pro I saw is GraphQL has a only one endpoint. As you know, the REST API has a lot of endpoints. For instance, if you want to create a data, you will use that endpoint. If you want delete, you have that one point. GraphQL has only one, well, only one endpoint, and you play with the system by modifying the JSON you send. It has a contract. It's a pure contract service, so you cannot move away from the definition of the contract the GraphQL server gives. You can browse the GraphQL. Let me show you. Okay, this is a client browsing the GraphQL server, my GraphQL server. As you
And
can
this is
see,
automatically, right? That you don't
you,
set up all these names. It's
I, I, I
get
did
it
nothing.
information, this meta information automatically, right?
Yeah, I did nothing. I just grow the entities in the Symfony framework in
Mm-hmm,
PHP. Symfony created the database layer for me.
mm-hmm,
I create the SQL petitions internally. I never wrote a SQL petition. The database is behind everything. Is behind the firewall.
mm-hmm.
Totally secure, totally safe, and and I wrote. Well, if we have time, I can show you the code behind that. If we
Yeah,
can
let's
continue,
sure. Yeah,
and
because we are all curious about this magic with
yeah,
the source code. Yeah.
yeah. I wrote really. I wrote 10, well, 20 lines of code more or
Mm-hmm.
less. That's
Okay.
it's very fast to to produce a new system
B-
from
Before you
scratch.
show us code, let me ask one quick
No,
question. Could
I,
you show this structure to summarize what you represent us? Structure with all microservices, and
oh yeah,
in other words, in the center we have only one endpoint in this GraphQL, how to say it, standard, right? And for example,
yeah,
mobile application will not implement all this logic related to the database. Only one thing which mobile application should do, it's send JSON to this GraphQL, right? And use some libraries which this GraphQL provide. And GraphQL make all others magic related to the queue manager, to the other services, maybe authorization, or maybe getting data from the patient table, and maybe from another sources, from another database, from different database, right?
yeah, yeah. In fact, you have a domain of data on every service. Yeah, you have
Mm-hmm,
a set of data in the authentication service, user, password, email, blah blah
mm-hmm,
blah. You have in the measurements service, you have a BPM integer, daytime, and every all the domain, all the data goes together is view stitches. I don't know how to explain by the API gateway. Yeah,
okay, okay.
it,
And
it it's a real gateway. It's a very smart gateway. It's Apollo, that one. Okay, 1 second.
yeah, yeah, let's
Apollo.
show Apollo. This is a platform, right, which
Wow. Yeah.
support this standard GraphQL. Oh,
Yeah.
API, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You have yeah. Okay. Let me show you. That this this data set
Mm-hmm,
is written for the patient service microservice. Yeah, and you maybe have a user blah 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 in the authentication service. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
and
yeah,
both of them goes to the Apollo server, to the GraphQL server,
mm-hmm.
and he understands the petition and he redirects the petition to the
Awesome.
authentication or okay, or the patient or whatever. Okay.
And
The,
one more
the,
question, according to the structure of this microservice. Right now, for example, we have a one Python server, right? And in the future, we will have, for example, 10 services,
yeah,
10 server, one on Node.js, another on Java, second on Python, fourth on PHP, and they smoothly connect to this GraphQL, and all this ecosystem will live with this Apollo server, which provide this ability to work. Sounds
yeah.
fantastic, you know.
It,
Sounds
it's
incredibly magically.
the mother of dragons.
Yeah.
The API, the Apollo server, the API gateway just reads, open the petition, reads the petition. Okay, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, and we have to make a switch because um, as we are, uh, everything was in the blob of
Mm-hmm,
when you wrote a system, you wrote everything inside, you wrote a monolith. Okay,
mm-hmm,
and now every piece of knowledge, of information, is a microservice. So moving, adding, removing data from the whole system is
mm-hmm.
easy, and even you can add more server, more iron, more power, just by adding new microservice on new servers. Yeah, that's a very good point. You can
Mm-hmm.
scale whatever you need.
Cool, 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 cool. Okay, guys, do you have any questions accordingly this microservice architecture? And Miguel, could you
Yeah,
share us this simplistic 20 rows of the source code that everyone
yeah. Let me
will
show you.
be, yeah.
I mm, let me share.
What it means for us that in the future probably we will not have this um, part of code which handle handle the database, all direct connection with database. Instead of this, we will have some libraries or maybe some code which will handle this with a GraphQL server. And actually, this will be sending and sending and getting request in like a JSON. I'm sure that as for Python, there are a lot of libraries which provide work with JSON as objects. You know, when you uh,
For,
transform objects and work with these as objects. I'm sure that other languages provide this support too.
yeah, there are writing. Well, GraphQL is all plain JSON.
Mm-hmm,
So if you are using the very new language which has not a good GraphQL library, just read the documentation, get to the playground, okay? Because we need a playground to make
and
tests.
probably this provide us one more ability. For example, we have a Python 2.7 and 3.9, and we can
Mhm.
support both of them in one ecosystem, right? And great, great. This is sounds optimistic. And
This is optimistic. This
yeah,
is this is good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miguel.
When
Uh,
the code, okay.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is the entities, okay. I
Hmm.
have two entities: heart rate and patient. This is really wrong. This is
Hmm.
really wrong because that entity uh, should be live on a different microservice than
Hmm.
this one.
Yeah,
Okay, but okay, this is
it will
a
be like two separate microservices. One for patients table, a second for the health rate metrics, right?
yeah. Every piece of knowledge is a microservice.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, every piece, and they are communicating between them. Okay,
Okay.
but my I am studying the way they communicate.
Hmm.
But yesterday I think I saw the light. Yeah. So uh, that's what I explained. When a new data is updated, it communicates to everybody
Hmm.
in using the queue manager. Okay,
Okay.
using RabbitMQ or Kafka.
Yeah.
RabbitMQ looks better for us than Kafka. Not because RabbitMQ is better than Kafka, because RabbitMQ is more oriented than Kafka for us. It's better for us. Okay. Well, the message goes to Rabbit. Okay, and Rabbit publishes that message.
Hmm.
And if there is a doctor in a hospital who needs a report, uh, for that patient, he goes to the microservice report server. Okay,
Hmm.
clicks, blah, and that report microservices asks to the patient microservices by using that RabbitMQ, that
Hmm.
message services service.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Great. Yeah, just for information, I'm going to discuss this structure with two architects, one from the Kaspersky lab. I'm sure that we will have some insights according to the security review and all this. And another guys, he's from industry, from tech industry in Bay Area, and I'm sure they will provide their feedback and give us a little bit more ideas.
Happy,
Yeah.
happy. Thank you.
Second one, more use Kafka, and I'm sure he will give us insights according to this RabbitMQ or Kafka. Anyway, and this is
Well,
your
no,
major code, right?
Kafka.
Yeah.
I have written a lot of documentation,
Hmm.
but okay, talk to them. I
Yeah.
have, and I'm pretty sure that RabbitMQ is better for us.
Sure.
But if Kafka is better, no problem, no problem.
We'll
They
see.
both
We'll see.
are
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The code.
Yeah.
I got that entity. This is the heart rate entity. Yeah.
Hmm.
ID, BPM, and date. Very, very easy. And the patient that heart rate belongs to. Okay.
Hmm.
That's good for it. Communicates by doctrine to the MySQL database. Hmm? Um, it
Oh, in other
pulls
words,
the
we should state, or we should describe the class of how works with the entity, for example, he- heart rate, right? And after
yeah,
that, this Apollo server will
yeah,
create JSON file, I don't know, SQL request, all these things which needs for communicate with the microservice, right?
yeah. When I write the entity, and this is the description.
Mm-hmm.
The description file did this maps the GraphQL to the entity in my Symfony layer.
Okay.
Okay, and the queries are described here, so you can see there are all patients query field
Mm-hmm.
and patient by ID. This the same queries I showed 5 minutes ago in the GraphQL playground. Yeah.
Great. Great.
Then it it I have I want to to deploy Graph Apollo, build two tiny microservices and make a test by publishing
Okay.
and see maybe if in the next Saturday, no, but in 2 weeks I have a
Okay.
meal, a
Okay.
test.
In 2 weeks, we will see next step on your progress, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Miguel, thank you so much. Guys, do you have some questions? Afrin, Volodya, maybe others. If no, yeah.
Sorry about that. I was not available for the last session. I recently joined. I'm just a bit confused. I I went through the last video and I was confused about the API you guys are actually consuming. Uh, because the lady that was actually designing the mobile app made mention that she was consuming an API, yeah, from Massachusetts for the metrics something. I
Hmm.
can't actually recall that. And she also said she was actually creating an own data forms and feeds. So I was like, is there an API that defines all users' data, or like, for example, from the backend, like backend developers that have actually created an API where we can actually we have all the forms and data we are going to be making use of in the front end and also in the mobile app, if you're getting it.
Okay, let me try to start to answer for your question. First of all, thanks for this question. And as I realized, you will be confused in terms of lacking of the API right now in implementation of our ecosystem. Just to clarify, what Miguel doing right now, he's trying to make our structure and our architecture, and probably in the 2 or 3 weeks, or probably in 1 month, he will finish all these things, and we starting to use this as a microservice in positive way, right? But some could be happened, and we probably adjust architecture. It could be any. We need to understand. We don't have an clear answer right now how it will be in 1 month. Before this month, we have a time, and we can make some work, not closely related to the backend, but probably with the user interface. As I realized, you are talking about mobile application and gathering these metrics. For example, we can provide some interface or maybe mobile screen, how to put blood pressure, or how to put glucose, how to put activity, and other things which related to the mobile application. And what else, we can try to get some information from Python server directly, just to for internal purposes. But I'm sure that this architecture point sounds very optimistic, and I believe that in the future we will have this communication with GraphQL, and that don't handle all this REST API calls, and don't implement a lot of endpoints, and so on and so far. But right now we can do something which not connected with the backend. This is the point. Did I answer for your question? Yes or not? And probably,
Uh,
yeah.
okay. You answered it a little bit, but I don't have an issue with the microservice. Like I said,
Mhm.
I really have little or no understanding about microservice. I'm actually a backend developer. I was actually confused about the API, but you actually cleared that confusion a little bit. Now, from what you're saying there's no consumable API except from the Massachusetts API, which does the metrics this thing. Like I was asking now, for example, now I was on a team on a web dev team, and we had an API. We were charged tax to create an API where that contains all the information since they are being stored in the database. So
Mhm.
we're tasked to actually create an API so that the mobile team, mobile dev, and the front end can consume. Now, so the mobile dev will not be, I will not have the pressure of actually creating their own separate API, and the web dev creating their own separate API. So we're actually those the back end devs were actually creating one API, so the mobile app devs and the web app devs can actually consume, which was then hosted to the microservice system. If you get to me.
Mhm. As I realized, your point that we need API, right? In short.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, okay, let's think about this, and probably we will have one more service, and let's name it API, and this API service will give in a how to say it, in a way which will be more comfortable to work for the mobile application, some kind of API. Anyway, I suppose that right now this only the future of our application, and Miguel showing us what will be in 1 month. Before this, we can use, for example, fast API, or maybe to implement one API call, which will help us implement some functionality in mobile application that don't block development process. And if this will work for you, let's go to this way. If not, let's probably sync up separately and discuss this, what option we have, and how we can handle before this our future release of architecture. What do you think?
Okay, that's no problem, sir.
Awesome. Thank you for your questions. Really helpful. Other guys, do you have some thoughts, ideas, suggestions? Okay, and we are ready to start our second topic. And Kevin, I am going to give you this sharing screen, and just for context, Kevin is going to show us uh, some progress according to the time zone detection. From first point of view, I thought that this is a very easy task and we will not have a lot of complication this, but when the Kevin deep dive to this task, we realized that it's a very complex task, and we first of all, we want to show what Kevin did, and secondary, we're curious about your ideas, maybe some kind of feedback, probably on the previous project you had some same experience, and probably you will suggest something. Okay, Kevin, feel
Right
free.
on.
Yeah.
Miguel, great job, first of all. So Miguel's a pro, I'm a beginner, so lower your expectations a little bit. But yeah, so as Alex said, I was kind of working on this function that basically matches a caller with someone in our database. So it kind of just trying to figure out a way to approach this where all the time zones were all standardized and people are, finding suitable matches to talk to other people in their pre-selected time frame. So basically, when a user signs up, they will give times that they're available to receive calls from other users. And then when someone wants to make a call, it doesn't really matter what time they call, they just want to talk to someone else. So they will call in, and then this function will find them someone that is available at that time that they called in. So like I said, I'm a beginner, so I don't know, like, you guys probably look at this and want to throw up. So I think there's a lot better ways to do this. But yeah, this is kind of like the approach I came up with so far. So it kind of half solves the problem, but it's definitely not perfect.
Let me clarify. First of all, we are talking about case when I don't know, maybe John in San Francisco and Bob in New Delhi, and they were we want to implement in the system when the John and Bob will have its ability to call each other. First of all, anonymously. In other words, they will not see the phone of each other. But from another point of view, they should too much in terms of time zone. If John said that he will be able, for example, 9 a.m. on Saturday, it will be nice that a guy from New Delhi have a same time period matching. And Kevin prepare this procedure of matching. Actually, what Kevin show us on the screen, this is a class of our database, and yeah, Kevin, could you scroll
Yeah.
to because frankly speaking, it's very
It's
nice.
small.
There is a joke about us developers that we laugh, as much as we can screens, and there's a lot of source code. But anyway, yeah,
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
no worries, no worries. And we have this function, right, of time zone detection, and what function does it get information from the John, converted this information to UTC format, and after that trying to match this UTC format with the information from guy from New Delhi. And when we get information from New Delhi about available time, or we convert it to UTC as well. And after that, we will only convert this UTC times. The problem is that if today, for example, or maybe yesterday in San Francisco was Friday, in New Delhi, it could be in some time, it could be Saturday, and it's not much. It's one problem, and I'm sure that, in other words, we should to adjust function to work with this, tricky tricky range of the time. Probably you know some library, or probably you struggling with the same problem in the past. Feel free to share your feedback, and or probably keep in mind that in the future we will have in our server, we will save all time and date things in UTC, and provide your thoughts. Is it good, not good? In other words, we are going to save local time zone, and UTC date and time. And this UTC date and time will have us ability to work universally with everyone, and with every patient, and all other use cases which we probably will implement. Probably this will be helpful for the patient, for the mobile application as well. Probably you will use same approach in terms of how to synchronize date and time between the different users, between the different patients. Okay, no questions, no ideas? Everything is good, right, Miguel? You are our super pro, and you should
Thank you.
You know, Alex, so we'll have question when we begin to implement all this code, you know. So it's gonna be a lot of questions for each other. And then we begin to communicate much more closer. But right now we're really interested, you know. So guys, you did a lot of work.
Okay, thank you, Volodya. Thank you for your warm words. And we out of time, 1 minute. I suggest to send the same link and to connect for who interested. I am going to show you our structure of the projects, how it will be in a close future, and we are going to discuss your questions and blockers, whatever which block you. Probably some of you don't have a task, and this will be on the in the second part of our meeting. Okay, and let me stop recording, and let's rejoin to this meeting. Okay.